Welcome to episode 3, or the 29th of December. So I think today's mission is to remove the second eyelet from the other Radflow shock I have in here by using our aluminum stem holder that we made. Will we damage the stem? This is what I'm going to figure out in this episode, and possibly try to figure out how this new setup is going to affect the top plate on the rally car. So as not to score the shock stem, I think I'm going to wire brush this. Let's hope we didn't damage anything. No, the shaft is turning. Yeah, I hope we didn't damage the shaft. So you know what? I'm gonna go back to wood. Okay, so obviously the method of using a piece of aluminum and not getting it quite right isn't gonna work. Because I drilled it by hand, the taper on one end probably not gripping as much as I thought, and also I'd have to cut down the middle again to maybe clamp it. I really don't want to score my shaft. I'm gonna go back to wood, crank on it, and pull it off. It works, it's simple. But first, let's see if we did any damage to the stem. We were really close. Ow, that was hot. Oh, that was not too smart. So we almost damaged the shaft. I just touched a almost 200 Fahrenheit piece of metal. This is a low IQ evening. And now we crank it. Got it. So now you know. Just crush some 2x4s and away you go. 200F to kill the Loctite. So we're December 30th. So I just took note of everything. I already have some 3/16 flat bar for these pieces. I already have some 1/4 inch flat bar for these pieces. I'll need a little bit more. But I especially need the 3-inch inner diameter pipe for this and 5.5 inch outer diameter for this part. And I'll be buying some 3/16 inch sheet to cut out 2 of these bad boys that will go on or under, I don't know yet, the shock tower. We are the 4th of January. And things aren't moving ahead because I'm waiting for the metal store to open so I can buy some piping. I'm gonna just chop up these for now. It's hot. So I guess what we'll do is we'll finish the final shaping with the grinder later on. At least I have the general shape. So we're the 6th of January. I had to wait till everything opened, and we finally made it to Métaux Gerbavaz to purchase our metal. We are the 11th of January, 2026, and I have to see how this fits on the shock towers of my rally car. So I was looking at this carefully again, and if I do center it properly, it sort of makes sense because I can build the shock towers up to this plate. Now, the question is, how high? it's fine to have the 3D of it and it's sitting on the shock tower, but what's the right height to position it at? What does it change? What is the impact? In what order do I do the steps? I have to sit down and think about this. So in the beginning, I had said that I wouldn't be talking as much in this series of videos, but I was thinking about that and realizing that the more I just do action videos, the less you actually see the struggle and the thinking behind what's going on. I don't know, but I guess I should explain what's going on. So I have a problem right now in knowing where I'm going to mount that plate. How I have to reconstruct the shock tower. And basically is what it depends on is my complete wheel travel that I had intended on. So I'm going to have to bring the car in, measure the suspension I had on it, knowing that I want the droop travel to stay the same. The far lowest of the suspension, that's where the bottom bolt has to go on this new one. And I just measure to the top and figure out where it has to go. So we need to get the car in here finally, and that's what we're going to do. So the problem with me bringing this car in is that now I know I have to actually work on it. And I'm not always motivated. See, I'm a driver. I'm not always motivated to do mechanics or to modify cars. I can do almost anything I apply myself to, but I prefer driving. And that's a bit difficult when it comes to rally. So I'm going to measure what's on the car and figure out how I'm going to adapt the top of this new suspension mount to the car. So we're the 31st of January and I've been sick for the last couple days, but I just have enough energy so I can start taking the suspension off the front of this. Okay, so this is what I've been curious about. I want to keep my total droop travel. So that's fine like this. And now between my original shock tower mounting, which is there, right, inside the shock tower, to the eyelet there, that's 3.5 inches. Perfect. Here to there should be 3.5 inches. But it's not. I won't be high enough. I wanted more travel up because my car is high. I have to have a reference point that I can start with to start cutting my shock tower and not mess up my geometry. I'm going to put bolts here. I'm going to make a jig that's going to come hold this at the correct height. I don't feel like hacking up my shock tower, but I don't really have a choice. So I'm going to start by making myself a jig that comes up 3/4 of an inch, and I'll make that and put that aside. So we're February 9th now. Time is flying. I'm feeling a little bit better. This is the jig I'm working on. Its goal is to reference 3/4 inches higher. So when I create my metal ring, that is going to be the actual shock tower, I'll be able to start welding to the original shock tower. So I guess my next step will be to tack these nuts so they don't move, adjust my height exactly where I want it, and then weld it up to here. So I just have to measure between here and here, 3/4 of an inch, and that is my new height. So what do we have now? We have like an inch. So I just turn these nuts, bring it down everywhere to 3/4 of an inch. That's 3/4. That's 3/4. And this is 3/4. I'm trying to shove something underneath there. Alright, so what we'll shove under there is a BFP, a big pry bar. Is that gonna hold? Yes. Actually, I didn't grind this, so there's paint on there. It's gonna be harder to weld. Oh well, whatever. Good enough. There's my jig. So do I know what I'm doing? Yes, I know what I'm doing. Do I know how it's going to turn out? I know how it should turn out. The important thing is that I move cautiously at every stage. Every step of the way, I have to think things through, measure twice, cut once. And I'll eventually get to where I want to go. This shouldn't stop me from moving forward. I know, let's get into a rant here a little bit. You see, in life, a lot of people have an issue with making decisions, and each and every one of us goes through a certain phase, a certain subject topic where we're like paralyzed. On projects like this, it's scary, it's annoying. We'll often not even want to come out into the garage because we know it's just going to be like this complex puzzle that we have to solve. So that's why last time in the garage, I don't think you can, yeah, you can kind of see it. That's why last time I made myself a list of the very simple steps that I had to do next time I'd come into the garage, with a little schematic of my, it's hard to see, but it's a little schematic of my jig, what I wanted it to look like, right? So if you have trouble bringing yourself to do a task or starting a job, sit down with a piece of paper on a whiteboard and just list out the next 3 to 5 steps you want to take, you need to take, and that's it. And that'll free your brain. You're like, oh, okay, I just have to do those. No other pressure, no other obligation. And you see now my jig is underway. Do I know how I'm actually going to do my metal removal and how I'm going to weld like so close to the firewall? I don't know yet. Am I going to have to pull the engine? I don't know yet. The important thing is that I just figure out the next steps I have to do and plan carefully, and it'll do its thing. It'll end up working out.